Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. He's Commander Cockings,
He's kind of Foley.
and today we're talking about a Romulan ship, which some of you might recall the name. It's the Swiftwing.
Not Swiftback. Fleetpool?
No,
No.
it's not. It's not Fleetpaw Swiftback. No. It is the Swiftwing, which originally was a FASA Romulan ship, and this one that we're looking at today is the different version of it. So I believe it was in Sins of the Solar Empire as part of one of the mods, but not 100% sure.
Yeah, we'll give him some models. This is one of those models. We use those models for you guys. So well done to have made it. Because I will say off the bat, I quite like this one. Your thoughts, Stuart? Who might know this already from FASA? The shape anyway.
Yeah, the FASA one looks more like a Boeing plane, essentially. This one is actually really cool. It's kind of taken the original idea and made it not so gimmicky, I guess. But it's actually cool because it's got the Romulan colors. It kind of has a harken back to like the Starfleet Museum type Romulan ships with the shape of the front and stuff. So there's a lot that's looking really good here. It does kind of feel like a modern aircraft almost a little bit still, but it's way divorced from what it looked like in FASA. So yeah, I like it honestly, and it'll be fun to talk about it with you.
Yeah, it's fun. If you'd made it not green, how do we feel? Right?
I would have been happy with it being white, like TOS, you know.
But I mean, without the it's Romulan, would we have said off the bat it's Romulan? Like, you know what I mean? Like convincingly, yes.
Would have been one of my first guesses. Yeah.
Yeah, but you would have known for sure, right? But the thing is, in this, there's something about the structure of it where it has the front bit with the curve and the weapons. It has the warp coils, as we know. Why would everything be the same look? Especially TOS when it's meant to be a specialist ship. This has those elements. I see them, but it actually continues the design to, a starship, not just a specialist ship. So even though other versions of me might say, okay, you wouldn't think it's Romulan without the green, it's in that ballpark enough that I'm like, okay, it's not a specialist ship, it's a normal cruiser or whatever. So I actually quite like the shapes. Didn't know it was based on a Boeing potentially, but I see that somewhat now. The way they've balanced it all now looks pleasing. It's big per window scale, but also armored big, I would say, not refined big, as in there's a lot of space between the decks and the tech, so it doesn't feel like it's internal volumely huge, if that makes sense, the way it's framed.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to see more views of it, obviously, and see what the bottom entails. If it's flatter, then, it's one of those things. It doesn't feel super big to me. I mean, the windows, if they're porthole-sized windows, I mean, it's not gigantic in the realm of starships, but yeah.
How do we feel about the no windows on the entire top sections? Like, is it only the middle line and lower?
That's confusing to me because I probably would have added them there personally, but it gives the implication that there's tech up there as opposed to usable space. And that middle spine element definitely kind of speaks to some kind of tech element. So,
yeah, I like when a design is designed with some semblance of. I see the flow and the pattern of what they're trying to achieve. So the fact that's the choice to me says something about the design that elevates it beyond just there's some windows places. So I actually really like that. There's a separation here. I might like the bottom yet, but I do like the top. Let's go to the next view. Those the back. Pretty sweeping. Looks pretty fast. Changes the feel quite a bit with the front. Kind of feels quicker now. Oh, I like that.
yeah, it still has that modern aircraft kind of vibe to it, though. I do like the shapes on this, but I see what they're doing. Like I said, the original FASA one, they're maintaining that kind of idea, but they've definitely sleeked it out and made it much more in line with the way Romulan ships would be. So I do like the trailing edge, though. You kind of still get that bird motif with the plating the way it is, and the brown elements, and a tail feather.
It's cohesive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not much going on. You can't see any impulse engines or any kind of shuttle bays.
I'm Underside, right? It's got to be. which would go well with the idea of it being the top is armored, is protected, is structurally sound. The bottom is where like total, the shell's on top. There's stuff down below. So therefore, I'm sure there's a bit. Well, I'm not sure. I don't know actually. If I've done the episode, I do not know, but I assume there's a shuttle bay and an impulse down there. But I do think this would be very well fitted in Enterprise as well. The Enterprise era. That obviously was a bit of a confusing one, how pointy everything was. They look cool, but not necessarily appropriate. This, I think, is that a combination of the boxiness of TOS and the sleekness of, there's a combination here with this. I think would be a very well fitted of that era for a bigger ship. I appreciate for sure.
If I had to guess, I would say it's an older ship design, like NX era-ish. A lot of things kind of speak to that, honestly. And again, it ties into what I said earlier about it resembling the Starfleet Museum ships for the way the Romulans looked in the original Romulan War. Big, bulky, kind of curved textures and stuff like that. So
big, bulky, curved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is sleek and slender, but it's got that curved element at the front, which is very reminiscent of those kind of ship designs. So I kind of love that, honestly.
Yeah, it's not doing a lot, but it's doing a lot. Let's look though. There we go. Next view, we saw him. Stuart, we have an impulse engine.
And it looks like we have shuttle bays as well.
Do we? Wait,
recessed squares on each side.
Oh, it didn't see those. Yeah, okay.
Those could be shuttle bays. The impulse engine placement's perfect, honestly. That's really great.
I'm genuinely shocked how undetailed the bottom is as well. Now, obviously, most games, top only, kind of you focus on, fine. But I'm kind of shocked there's not just extra happening. Now, I don't think there's nothing happening here by any means, but I'm surprised it matches the top to the minimalism. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, we got the bird of prey from TOS, which is very minimal as far as any kind of detailing on it.
True.
Sure, it's a smaller ship, but it speaks to the Romulan design aesthetic, I guess.
It shouldn't be pipes for pipe's sake.
Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, even the Trekyardians has kind of a smooth texture, right? So minimal use of windows, which is again is a choice, and I think probably a good one in this case. You could like smatter windows all over it, like the front of the Trekyardians, but
let's not just do that for no reason.
Yeah.
Yes, if some reason, but yeah.
Yeah. The nacelles give off very antiquated vibes. Everything about them. The shape of the back is very reminiscent of the TOS bird of prey. The front with that bizarre collector shape seems very antiquated, but I rather like the look of them, honestly. Just doesn't give modern vibes.
I think they're the weakest part. I think they're under-designed.
Yeah, a little bit.
Which, in fairness, isn't a problem, but I think there's maybe more cohesiveness in the body that the nacelles just feel like variant shapes versus a cohesive flow. Not sure what that would mean practically, of course, but they don't quite work for me as a whole piece. But they don't not work. They just they don't match the body.
They both do and don't. Like they could definitely use some redesign to make them feel more in line with like the Trekyardians, just things we see later. But
would it benefit? And this sounds a bit brutalist. Just to swap out the front two levels of the Basards and replace it with a big giant TOS Basard, as in Romulan. Just the bigger chunk up front. Would that help here?
It would, but I think they were trying to make a difference to that than just like because the rear is very similar to the TOS Romulan bird of prey. So I think to make it different, they changed those shapes at the front. It would work. It would absolutely work. I kind of prefer that, honestly. But that's why I said this feels more antiquated than even that. So like again, it goes back to the NX era type design. So
or just last gen TOS, meaning TOS era, but not cutting edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, impulse engines, great, really well placed. Yes, you could argue they're doing a lot of potential upthrust damage to the top, but obviously they're designed there for a reason, so therefore they would not be done to do that. Therefore, it's fine because they've been put there. But yeah, I like the back fin. It's not doing anything literally, but the plating and the color variation helps. Gives it something going on.
It'd be cool with that length coming out the back to have either weapons emitters on the back of that to imply there's something in there, or even a shuttle bay. Like that'd be great for a long shuttle bay, like a staging area and stuff in there.
Yeah, Or like imagine if this is like a repair ship and it warps in, turns the impulse engines off, of course, and then little clamps come down. And it can like clamp small ships and warp beasts and come repair it in this protected sort of zone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bit weird, bit random, but maybe.
It has that cutout at the bottom. Yeah. It's like there's something there that could come down and clamp onto.
That's
another
what I was
ship.
going to say. Yeah, that their shape is so distinct. Is it pushing out or going in? Because it's such a distinct shape and distinct vibe. Very sort of Star Destroyer cut in near the middle hangar, kind of.
Yeah.
But it has no back, as in, or front, whichever you're looking at it. Like it's not a enclosed space. So what is that, if anything? Or is it just a fun plating?
I think it's just fun plating. It's like, I almost want to hazard a guess and say a landing leg, but there's no other ones up front.
Look
possibly.
at the wings. There's two blue colours on the wings.
Oh,
And in fairness, two below the shuttle bays. Problem is, any sort of leg would have a lot of internal volume. A lot. It's not really worth it in this case. But it would be... I mean, I would love to see Romulan ships land. We know the TOS one can. I'm a proponent of that in general. I think they would be a landing sort of race where that's an important feature. So therefore, this having that, I like it.
And in case you guys don't know, there is a blueprint of the ship that shows the landing legs of the TOS bird of prey.
Yep.
So yes, it's a small ship.
Great. Intrigued by the window arrangement here. I like the inner strip on the underside. I like that. But then having either shell bay, let's assume, one row and then two rows, it feels there's a reason, but it might just be it looks cool. But it does look like it implies something, even if something is just to look interesting. I think because it just feels a little bit off still.
The one side could be the making sure that shuttles are coming in properly. We know the Enterprise has a little window above the shuttle bay for just such a reason, if you believe that. The other side could just be like lounges or something where you can see shuttles coming in if you want. It's odd, but it works, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those few things where, as you'd said really well earlier on, TOS is minimalist, the Romulans. So my brain's sort of fighting that logical add detail, just some things, some tech, but it's been so restrained that it feels the TOS line, but now we've got all those different layers and shapes, and yeah. It's only the third view, Stuart. We haven't got to all those yet. Next view, those at the bottom, totally different feel, right? Like it feels almost like a boat, that has those pontoons come out and you're on the water. One of those things.
Well, this absolutely says Starfleet Museum. All the shapes here just feel like that, and that's fantastic. There are a lot of those detailing plates that could be, in fact, landing gear, so I'm not opposed to this thing landing if it is a smaller ship. And again, very minimalistic on the window detailing here as well. Everything. It's very simple design, which I kind of appreciate, honestly. It's not cluttered.
And it's not just a TOS Romulan ship changed. A lot has been changed, but a lot of it has been thematically kept.
Yeah. It's got a nice swoop to it. Like, again, it feels... I don't want to say bird-like from this image, for this few in particular, but kind of.
Yeah. There's a reason why wings are called wings, because they're based on birds, and then, it all comes together, right? Well, let's look at all those, because we've had a long debate on the perspectives. Top and bottom. Pretty much what I thought it was going to look like.
It's a shape that I like. I really like this ship design. Although those wings from the top now, I can very much picture being Klingon. They kind of have like a D7 type vibe to them. But yeah, all the shapes look really good. I love the simplicity of it. It's kind of screams minimalist, and I like that.
But also bird. Like, it's an entirely different approach to making a bird motif without having a giant bird on the ship. Just by having recessed plating at the back of the wing gives you such a feather feel. It's such an organic way of doing that. And I kind of wish that was on more Romulan ships. Having those sort of back-ended grills is really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there is something sneaky about it that feels as if almost it's two ships. In that, on the front view, top view, sorry, you can see the silhouette of the two wings, then the beak and the front ship. Almost as if that can detach from the rest of it, which is the bottom section on the ship, which is a differently proportioned ship. So if that's a giant cargo pod, it just becomes a giant warp system. and they can swap pods between that, which would also mean no windows in that section. But if that's all warp drive and weapons and such, then I mean that's interesting because I can see very distinct seam lines here without much around that. What do you think?
No, I absolutely agree with you. Like looking at the bottom, you can see what could be the cargo module, and then the overhanging wings and the tail section, which it clamps onto, right? Yeah. Speaking of weapons, though, I don't see any weapons emplacements at all.
Just the front two in the.
Oh yeah, the two red ones. Which
I mean, where are they on the TOS? Right? There's a question. I mean,
well, when we get to the front view, those two red at the front will be very reminiscent of the front of the TOS bird of prey as well. So.
But they don't have ball turrets. They can't really. Yeah, it would be nice to see two after ones of those same details, but that'd possibly remove the specialness of it being this giant forward-facing cannon. Of course, you could add two at the front, one at the back, and then the rest of the views, which I do remember from the prep, thinking, "Oh damn, we're back in the NX era," because that thing's flat.
Absolutely, yeah. It's giving me. I can't remember the ship. It always does this. It gives me vibes of other ships, which I think. Subconsciously a lot of people maybe do, or they just like a ship design, but yeah, the front and back views are quite interesting, very slender.
They are more Romulan TOS bird of prey, but with the wings down. Even though none of the shapes are there, the front is, I can see it more, you know?
That's interesting. If you turn it upside down, it's very reminiscent of the TOS bird of prey.
Yep, which is a success. They managed to achieve that without being rocket science. Which actually, if you look at the nacelles from the side view, they look as if they've been flipped, as the ship was meant to be the other way around.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's going like this as opposed to this, yeah.
Boy, if I've got the ship the wrong way around, that'd be hilarious.
Embarrassing.
I don't think I have.
I don't think you have.
But I assumed it was this way. Because that's what I was given. So look, space is relative, Stuart. Space is relative.
Flipping upside down works too. Like, it's a great design, but I think that would be too similar. I think it's fine that it's similar, but I think a lot of designers want to be different, so they take something they like and change it. So, I don't know. This works either way for me, honestly.
Which is very rare.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
I do mostly still see my fictional seam lines to have the two different ships connect and deconnect.
I do too.
And I like it still. And it's a good looking bottom pod if that was the case. You could add more cargo into that, like the Star Destroyer opening in the previous zone. You could easily, I mean, there are many things that like use ports of other things that aren't meant to intended to be used to extend things. So you can actually have, say, bigger cargo modules which actually go into the shuttle bays and lock via the giant shuttle bay opening, and it extends out that way. They have space for that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, radical. There's ways of making the ship more of a tug in a sense of like adding parts. Which is, again, unusual. There's just placement for that where nothing kind of would hit itself.
Yeah. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting... Anyway.
Very much. I will give it one slight critique in that the impulse engines and the front weapon emitters
I was just going to say that.
Are almost identically detailed to the point that they really should have chosen their lane in terms of texturing. It's a little bit different, but like... to a point degree.
Actually, the front ones look more like impulse engines than the back ones, if I'm honest. Yeah, I was just about to say that when you jumped in with that.
We've done this a couple of times recently. Yep.
Yeah. And I just flipped it upside down, and it's still a cool looking ship, but I kind of prefer it the way
this is presented
it.
And it makes more sense to have shuttle bays this way around. I'll just say that.
Yes, 100%.
So, but do you like it less or more? Because this is flatter than I thought it was going to be, and it does change it for me a little bit.
I really love the side view. The front and back are just kind of okay for me, but I still like the ship quite a bit. It is losing something on the front and back for me, though. But yeah, overall, I think it's a really good design. I really do like it.
It's also quite an optical illusion because the side view, it feels well proportioned, but then you realize because it's perspectively removed, the bulk of the tip of the belly is how deep you see it.
Because it's rounded, it looks much beefier from the side than
from
the front.
Yeah. And it's not at all the shape from the front or back.
Yeah.
But I do think if it was literally what we see on the side, just being a big chunk, it would not look good. This curve is really, really important, but it's a really good optical illusion ship in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. All right, and then next picture is sort of an action view, but more of a in the middle of it, if you were coming to play. And there are windows in the top in camera accessibility, which I had seen in other views, but now seeing it properly.
Yeah. kind of recessed hidden windows, which I think is actually kind of cool. They kind of are hidden behind the plating, and they're recessed in. So from the other three-quarter view, you couldn't even see them, which is interesting. I think that works really well, honestly.
Kind of hidden though, as in if we can't see them, they can't see us. Like the front couple are being obscured from the front view, which sort of seems a little bit important.
Maybe they got a big monitor on that outside part, and they could just look out the window and look at their monitors.
200-inch TV, 8K. The future is TOS, 8K. Yeah. No, it's a really good view. It's got a swooping nature.
Yeah.
It's got a TOS round thing, but it's been extended. This would be a really great hero model as well if you made some of the edges less smooth. Ironically, some of them the hard edges bit more curved, like that enough to just say detail. Make the plating real. Add some of those like where there's a little color change or plate change. Have it be maybe some extra plate lines there to kind of imply a detail. Like you could really do a little bit to this to kind of imply more detail, but not a lot.
I just wish they'd fix those front weapons emitters, because honestly, they just look like TOS pulse engines. Because the glow in the middle, and then like it looks like there's almost lines in them as well.
I mean, they may have reused the texture, and that's okay. But a good view. This is it's a ship that doesn't break the bank, but it's a tasty appetizer, right? And the last view is the first view, which is where we started. I want to end the main batch with a sort of at you. This I think shows the design better. The other one shows it more in action, and this does feel different to the last shot. They just feel a bit different. Yeah. So what do you think? Closing out. Had you seen this before? In FASA, I think you kind of had, but this must have brought to life in a whole new way for you.
Yeah, I've seen the FASA one. I don't know if I've seen this one. I do really like the shapes on this. I think it's a good design, and if it's just the one that came after the FASA version, that's cool. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that way because shares a lot of the same design cues. I do love from this view in particular that those top windows are hidden. I think that's kind of neat. But yeah, I think it's a cool ship, and it's a shape I really like. So, how about you?
Yeah, it's one where they could easily, in my opinion, have misstepped a few places. But it's that great level of restraint, a little bit of artistic license, a little bit of knowing the limits of the era, and this would be very apt in many a Star Trek production. It would work NX era, it would work TOS era, it would work as an old TMP ship. Even the shape. I mean, if anything, I'd love to see the shape like Derodexivized. New phrase, Derodexivized. Updating the nacelles, giving it more of some level of beak. I think you could do not a lot to it and update it in that form, like streamline some shapes. But thematically, the shape combination of that the thin wing and the medium curved hull, you could actually work well with if you did it again.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts, guys. Let us know what you think about this design down in the comments section, or if you've used this ship in a game or a mod of some sort, let us know. We want to hear from you guys, just your thoughts on it in general. So that's what the comment section is for. Make sure that you hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell icon to all, so you can join us for all the content.
And go back and watch more Romulan ships. Lots you've probably never seen before, and we hadn't. We looked at them, and a few that are really solid, and a few that are pretty good. So go back and check out our grand pantheon of ship things that we want to show you stuff you haven't seen before and appreciate it in full detail as only we can do. How cool is that? And if you want to support us every month, you can via Patreon. It's a great way every single month, or PayPal, which is the PayPal Trekyards@hotmail.com. Any amount goes towards the show. Thank you. Or join the channel on YouTube. It's like Patreon, but not Patreon. See? Makes sense. Or super chat during live, any amount, any hello, any message, be part of the conversation. Or just say, hey, whatever dollar, just watch your plea for help, in the whether this is a cool video. Hi, I did the thing. Like, oh my god, hey, we're reviewing Romulan Dominion ships today. What are we doing? It can all make sense, right? If you help us out.
Everything he just said.
And more.
So until next time, guys, he's Commander Cockings.
He's got a Foley.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.